So this is the northern portal of the Harecastle Tunnel, also known as the Scarecastle Tunnel. The reason for that is it's quite a long tunnel. It's well over 2.5 kilometres long. Built in the Victorian times, or pre-Victorian actually, 1824 it was built. But that there is the height restriction, and there's a staff member here to check that my boat will go under that, and they won't let me in if my boat touches that because they're afraid you're going to get stuck in the tunnel. That's the rescue boat, by the way, just there. So that should be fun tomorrow. Looking forward to that. This is the old horse bridge for towing the barges. Yeah, the canal really is that bright orange colour. It's not some kind of post-production trick. What happens is that in the tunnel, the rock has got a lot of iron ore deposit, and the water leaches all the iron oxide out, so it makes it this bright orange colour. It's actually not that bright. Once a boat goes past, it really stirs up the sediment on the bottom and it gets completely orange. So, chimney off, and chimney off at the front. Just had the safety briefing. And here's the tunnel. So I'm just going to finish my coffee and then off I go. In we go. Figure out why these are not working. Okay, good. Tunnel's getting lower. Apparently it gets lower than this a bit further on, which should be rather exciting. Oh, it's getting lower again. Tunnel's getting lower, and I think even lower again coming up. Dripping. Yeah. It's like being in a gothic horror movie or something. The Lair of Dracula. These white markings are to let you know that there's a ridge there, so you don't bang your head like happened to some unfortunate boater a few years back. He knocked himself unconscious and drowned going in the tunnel by himself. Wet. Whoops, get out of the way of that. Notice all the way along there's a chain along this wooden rail. So if you do fall in at this point in the tunnel, you have to drag yourself 1100 meters that way and 1400 meters, 1.4 kilometers the other way if you can't swim. I'm already in the low part and now it's getting lower again. It's quite easy to oversteer because I can't quite see the front of the boat sometimes. It's difficult to judge how far it is next to the wall, so I have to get into the middle this time. Now this is low. Yeah, so it's easy to kind of go from side to side. There are some kinks in the tunnel. Oh, it's opened up a little bit. So you do have to steer a bit. But it's easy to overdo it and then go straight to the other side, then ping off of that wall and straight to the other side. Not off the wall exactly, but not literally, but one side to the other. I wonder how these guys behind me are doing because they had a much higher boat than mine. They've got a wooden cruiser with a bit of a bridge superstructure. I was surprised the guy let him in actually. So if there wasn't this boat behind me, I would probably stop and just listen to the silence of an awesomeness of being a couple of kilometres underground. It's finally opening out again, and I can hear the fans that they've installed to push the air through the tunnel. Apparently they closed the door at this end, so I won't be able to see any light. So I've got to make sure I don't just bang into a closed door. It's positively palatial, this part of the tunnel, compared to the rest. Yeah, I'm about 500 meters, half a kilometer from the other end now. I won't be able to see it because they closed the doors and put these enormous fans on to push air through so you don't suffocate on your own diesel smoke. Ah, they're opening the doors for me. I was wondering how that was going to work. Thought I might have to go up to the gates and then beep the horn or something. Yeah, they've just turned the fans off as well, that's great. Cool. There she blows. As you well know, a large part of the fun about boating is being in somewhere new, what's around the next corner. And I hadn't quite realised it, but that had kind of evaporated away because I'd been in the same place for about 3 months. Even though it's going up and down, it's the same bit of canal. And it's really nice to be cruising again when I don't know what's around the next corner and I have to decide if I'm going to stay here or carry on or whatever. It's a large part of the fun of it. You know? Although, even when I was stuck in one place, living on a boat is fun. It's funny, I constantly have this thought, because I kind of forget I live on a boat. Because if I'm working on some music, I'm just sitting in front of a computer, I go and make a cup of tea, and you know, it's just like living in a flat. And then I take the ashes out, you know, from the ash pan under the fire at about 2 a.m. and I kind of get outside, and, you know, unzip it and look up, there's stars and the canal and, you know, maybe a duck quacking at night or whatever. I just think, this is hilarious, I live on a boat. I still quite regularly have that thought, like, this is ridiculous. I'm living on a boat in the middle of bloody nowhere. It makes me laugh, you know. This is Barlaston coming into now. And I went through Trentham, which was pleasant as well. So this is where I ended up, next to the old turnover bridge. For a change, before the sun's gone below the horizon. I went a couple of miles past Barlaston in the end. But yeah, it's quiet enough. It'll do.